Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here with some more from the Team Dig and Towers Total War Rome 2 Invitational Tournament. This is the finals now. So the previous 3 battles that were uploaded, which you can find linked in the description in the playlist, were between Panda Warrior and Llewellyn, and that was the battle for 3rd place. So we now have the final between Balor of Agartha and Aggony Duck. This is a best of 5 matchup. So I'll be joined by Gamerdusa and Indie Pride once again in the commentary box. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the first match of the finals.
So I'm going to start with the Rome because it looks like dog trouble is happening with the Indie Pride. So, Balor has brought 6 units of Hastati here at his front. Again, this is probably going to be used as a shield, as a charge blunting force shield. It's gonna lose to Celtic Warriors if Tylus brought any, but the real meat of this Roman army is its backline. It's composed of 5 units of veteran legionaries, 2 units of legionaries, and then I think he has 3 units of legionary cohorts, which are just absolutely fantastic unit. He did bring some cab in the form of 2 equites, and he has a legatus general. So this is what you would call a power build. There's lots of infantry units. He's going to be using ranks, he's going to be nullifying charges with his own units that are throwaway, and then he's going to try to grind it out with whatever remains of his enemy's line.
Yeah, the main tactic that Rome generally uses against barbarian factions is they'll use the Hastati front line. The interesting thing is that Hastati, again, won't actually beat Celtic Warriors 1v1 in melee, but you want to try to deny as many Oathsworn and the mid-tier swords like the Tribal Warriors their charge bonus with the Hastati. They're really good at meat shielding and preventing the heavier infantry for Boii or for Tylus from getting their massive charge bonuses off. And if you can do that and then follow that up with a charge from a veteran legionnaire or one of the other legionary units, they can definitely grind down the very highly armored Tribal Warriors in melee combat. So I'm expecting that is what Balor of Agartha is going to be trying to do in this game. Get that Hastati to meat shield, soak up some Slinger Fire, and soak up the charge bonuses from the barbarian infantry.
Okay, fantastic. And just do Duck's lineup.
Okay, yeah. Duck's lineup is a left flank of Celtic Warriors. Main line of Tribal Warriors, about 6 of those, I believe, and some Thracian Warriors in the back that he'll probably use as a flanking force. We saw some really good use from, I believe, Panda Warrior earlier in the tournament. Or was it? No, it was Duck. It was with Duck. Duck used Thracian Warriors very effectively and efficiently, got them to kill some cavalry units, and they actually do have a bonus first large. They can kill cavalry very quickly and use them as a flanking force. They're very low armored, which means you have to be, they're kind of a glass cannon. You have to be very careful how you utilize them. But if they get a flanking charge into the rear of one of these legionary units, they could do a ton of damage. And the interesting thing in this battle right now is he doesn't truly have any actual counters to the Raiding Horsemen. So what I'm expecting him to do is pull a couple Hastati from his front line into the back and use them to screen the Javelin Cavalry and make sure that they don't actually shoot at the units that are important, like the Equites or the veteran legionnaires. If he can do that and kind of prevent the Javelin Cavalry from getting close to the line and just make them screen them with the Hastati, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. But I don't know, the melee engagement is one of those things where it could go absolutely either way. And actually he's popping Tetsudo at the moment, which is interesting. I don't know.
That is
he's popped that with all his whole main line against 2 Celtic slingers who are shooting at him from the front.
Yep.
I wouldn't really...
All into Testudo. I mean, also Duck's been harassing constantly while we were going through those lineups there with those raiding horsemen. He's now got them around the back over to the right flank.
Oh, here comes a charge by this unit of Equites. It's gonna try to pounce on this Celtic Warrior.
Not a very good charge.
It's actually gonna end up no, it's not gonna land. It loses almost 20 men. This noble horse, though, it's gonna try to do some kind of counter damage. It actually does so much damage against this Hastati, killing a total of almost 30 men, and it's going to pull right out of there.
But if he can tie the noble horse down, that's big. If Aggony Duck can't pull this out, that's going to be a big problem for him, because that's an important unit.
Indeed.
Expensive unit.
Indeed, but at the same time, like, here comes clean charges from these Celtic Warriors. He's going to need to fall out himself.
Yeah, they're coming in from the flanks as well. That's going to hurt.
And they
if you
will
can't
be
pull them
general
back.
everyone in combat.
Totally. Oh, this is quickly turning into a huge brawl.
He's pulling all of his forces.
Yeah.
And he's still got the raiding horsemen are now coming in as well. Duck's got them. He's Going to pull them into the flanks. And he's got Celtic Warriors going into the remnants of that Equites unit. They've got to throw, not too much damage. Chased away by the Equites. And over on the left, actually, he's charged out with a unit of Hastati right into the Tribal Warriors and is pulling more of his Veteran Legionaries over into the main line.
Equites is dead. And he's starting to win this engagement. He actually did pretty well in saving his noble horse, but most of the time this noble horse was facing the other way. But now it seems to realize what it was doing. His general, though, is getting kind of isolated at the front here.
Yeah.
Trying to throw jabs against these veteran legionaries, and he's just engages with his general. And look, he's pulling back. This is crazy. This is really, really dangerous for Duck.
Duck's going in. Duck's on crazy.
Yeah, that's a very isolated general.
In goes his general.
Like, they're completely surrounded.
What is Duck
doing?
Good
move from Balor, but definitely a micro mistake from Aggony Duck here.
Yeah,
he might get
micro
punished
mistake,
for it.
Totally.
Because he's going to probably commit his Veteran Legionnaires, and they don't have anywhere to run away now. It's going to have to be the Tribal Warriors that come in and save the general. And they can engage. They're going to get a clean charge off from the Legionnaire if he actually clicks an attack order.
He's giving it now.
He hasn't engaged yet, yeah. He's engaging now, but... yeah, here we go. They're going to get a really good charge bonus, and the Legionnaires actually are not facing them at all, so that should be pretty devastating. But General is down to 80 men. They're in yellow morale. I don't believe the General's died yet.
No, he's just winded, but they're down to 75 so far.
Attacking the rear unit, losing decisively, and he popped Warcry.
Intimidate.
And Intimidate. He can't use any abilities. So he's not going to be able to...
Oh my god, going down.
The General's red?
General's red. He's shaken because he's attacked at the rear.
If he loses his general here, he's in
those legionaries, in formation attack are holding. They're actually holding rather well, despite being attacked in the flank. There
comes the Legatus for some morale penalty, and another Equites. They're trying their hardest.
Duck's down to 54.
Starts to waver.
They are not going to win that engagement. They can't.
Over on the right flank, though, the Hastati have gone. There we go. General's gone. Duck's general is out of there.
That was a big mistake right there.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Look at his units. Look at the morale on all these units now. Once a barbarian general dies, the morale just completely shatters throughout the army.
It was a really good use of Intimidate as well to prevent him from using any of his general abilities. He couldn't headhunt.
Absolutely.
He couldn't pop any of his battle rhythm or second wind, and so they got surrounded, isolated, completely destroyed, and it was a micro mistake from Aggony Duck there, losing his general like that, but definitely good play from Balor of Agartha, noticing it, taking advantage of it, capitalizing on it, and I think he hasn't won this game yet, but like that's a huge deal to it. That's a huge blow to the Barbarian army for sure.
Here comes a rear charge from this raiding horseman, though. It's gonna contact really nicely against these legionnaires and these legionary cohort, but not really going to do much damage. He's going to need to keep doing cycle charging here and throwing javelin into the back of the use units, but the tribal warriors are starting to waver in the middle here, and there's just too many Roman infantry units left.
There's a lot left on the field for Rome, yeah. And another tribal warrior is about to get isolated right here. It's going to get hit by 3 different sides, a legionary cohort, a veteran legionnaire, and another veteran legionnaire, completely surrounded. Actually,
comes the charge
Baylor's
again.
Gonna pull out again, but they are surrounded, and a lot of these sword units really don't have any hope of winning the melee engagements they're in at the moment.
He did do a really good job here doing these charges, though. He's brought these Roman units down to about 50 a man, and these tribal warriors are starting to...
the Celtic Slingers are still hammering into the back of the veteran legionaries as well on the flank there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huge charge from Thracian warriors, by the way, on Duck's left flank. They got into the rear of the veteran legionnaires, but they got counter-charged by the Legatus and just got destroyed.
By Thracian warriors, and those tribal warriors aren't looking good too. They're going to shield wall, but they're on red morale. They're shaken. They're not holding well just because again, formation attack. Veteran legionaries just pressing from both sides, and Duck keeping those legionaries together really well.
With the Thracian warriors, like I said, they're a very glass cannon unit. If they don't engage properly or they get charged by cavalry, they get destroyed. And he actually got a good rear charge off on them, but it kind of got stopped a little bit by the Legatus. They charged into the rear, and that unit just routed in seconds. And that was a big deal because he probably could have routed the veteran legionnaire if they'd gotten an actually clean charge off into the back of that legion.
He's charging more of the raiding horsemen in over on that right flank, trying to break those legionaries. In come the Equites as well, though.
And they do break it. Wow, these raiding horsemen have been doing work across the line. They've done it first here in the middle, and now they did it again. They're routing more units. Like, Duck made a huge mistake at the beginning, but he has been fighting his way back. If he keeps these two slingers alive and he manages to somehow win over this side here, he could have a decent chance and maybe...
If he kills the general here, maybe there might be a morale shock big enough to turn this.
7 out of 30.
His units are winded.
Yeah, the tribal warriors are just tanking it.
To be fair, so are the Legionary Corps. They are completely surrounded by Thracian warriors. General's going to die here if he's not dead
Balor's going to go. He's trying to pull him away. He's out down to 4. Desperately trying to pull out.
And the general's actually still alive.
Is this extra general over there?
There's no morale penalty for the general dead.
Yeah, there's no morale penalty except for the Equites. So like the Roman troops don't really care if their general dies. They still fight. They're well trained and well drilled.
Yeah, this is starting to the balance are shifting very much in his favor.
Now that the centre's got freed up, he can charge into the back of the troops. They're all wavering now, bar the units on the left flank. Yeah, they've gone. There they go. And that's there's a couple of slingers, but they'll break in a moment as well. And that is first game then to Balor. Beating the duck.
So I think that this replay or this game specifically comes down to one thing, and I think it was Duck's mismicromanagement of his general. I think the engagements could have gone fine for him if he didn't lose. I mean, that Oathsworn got, I don't know how many kills he got, maybe 25 kills tops. We'll check it on the stat screen in a second here, but it did not do a lot of killing, and normal Oathsworn units should be able to cut through a lot of Hastati and normal Legionnaires if they're used effectively, and if they get Headhunt off, and if they get Battle Rhythm off, and if they then refresh their exhaustion, they can do so much killing, and they didn't do anything, and it wasn't just that. They also lost his general, so when you lose your gen, you get that morale shock, your guys start fighting way worse. Ended up shifting things way in Balor's favor for sure, and he brought it back pretty well, but it wasn't enough in the end.
Well, that's the first game, a Pyrrhic victory, but Balor gains the first point in the final, deploying 2,130, losing 1,401, and killing 1,409. Duck deploying 2,070, losing 1,441, and killing 1,366. So very close there in terms of kills and losses.
All things considered, I think like Duck did well in terms of just in terms of like how many men he killed and how many men he lost. Like, look at the stats of his Thracian warriors and his tribal warriors. He did a good job. He tanked out. If he just didn't lose his general, even his raiding horsemen, they did pretty well. Same time, look at those veteran legionaries for Balor.
Yeah, they
even his legatus, 77 kills.
He uses his general really well.
Yeah, he
really
does.
well. I would normally would not risk sending my legatus or my general's bodyguard into melee combat, but he seems to know the limits of that unit very well, and they do a pretty decent job for him. And his use of Warcry Intimidate, I gotta say it again, probably the best use of Intimidate I've seen in a tournament ever. Like, that was really good, and it was the reason the Oathsworn died so quickly. And again, like I said, 18 kills on an Oathsworn unit. That's 1,280 talents for 18 kills. Not worth it at all, and I think that if he had microed that better, might have been a different battle.
So there we go, the first battle of the finals in the Team Dignitas Total War Rome 2 Invitational Tournament. Balor gaining the first victory. Can Aggony Duck bring it back with a victory in the next battle of this best of 5 final? We shall see in the next upload. So make sure you stay tuned in for that. It will be uploaded in the next day or two, or if you're watching this in the future, make sure you have a look in the description where you'll find a full playlist of all of the Twitch battle exports from this tournament, from the third place playoffs between Llewellyn and Panda Warrior, and all of the final battles between Balor of Agartha and Aggony Duck. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, take pride and join the Legion. Ciao for now.